Hi, everybody. I'm Kevin Ioli from Yahoo Sports, and it is my pleasure to welcome yet another one of the best boxers in the world, one of my favorite guys to watch fight. You can see him Saturday on Showtime against Sergey Lipinets, Mikey Garcia. How are you, Mikey?
How you doing, Kevin? Doing good. Thank you.
I appreciate you coming on with me. A lot of people maybe don't know, the hardcore boxing fans I know will know Sergey, but a lot of people may not know him. What kind of fighter is he, and what do you expect from him in your fight in San Antonio?
Oh well, from what I've seen, he's a very tough fighter, strong fighter, dangerous fighter. Um, he's a bit of an unknown name because he barely recently just won his world title. But um, from what I've seen, he's very dangerous. I'm sure he's hungrier than ever. He knows the opportunity in front of him is a huge opportunity to face me, and if he beats me, the sky's the limit for him. He can really rise in the boxing world. So I'm sure he's trained harder than ever, and he's very motivated. That's what makes him very dangerous.
The thing I think is interesting about you is that, like, you seem to be willing to move up and down weight classes and searching out the best fights now. And I appreciate that. I like that as a boxing fan. I like a guy that's looking for the best fights. Has that always been your approach, or is that something you've come to as you've matured and grown in the business?
But sometimes the opportunities are not there. The fights are not available. But now with my boxing, how I'm able to control my career better and guide and pick and choose, and that's why I'm taking on these fights. I want to take big challenges. I want to have big fights that the fans want to see. Um, and if we can get the right opponent, if the other promoter is willing to work with me, then I'm here. I'm willing to make any fight that's available.
I mean, I know you've even talked about fighting at welterweight as you go. You fought, 35, 40. Where do you think you're best at, and how are you different at the three weights? Like, are you stronger at one and faster at another? Is there a difference in you in the weights?
I think right now I feel that a better fit would still be lightweight at 135 pounds, because the fighters, my opponents, would be a slight smaller than the 140 pounders. That allows me to maybe show my power more and work that a little bit better. But as far as skills, I think my skills are there to compete at 140 and soon 147. I think the difference that I'm fighting bigger men at the 140 and 147, might be a bit of a factor where my power may not show as much because I'm fighting bigger men. They can take a bigger punch, but I still have the skills and the experience to use everything else aside from power to beat my opponents. And I'm capable of boxing 12 rounds if I have to. As long as I'm winning each round, I could beat a bigger man.
When you were with Top Rank, I remember you had trouble in your last couple fights making the weight, and that's always people don't understand sometimes. Guys making weight. There's Jose Luis Castillo was a fighter. No matter what weight he was at, he had trouble making it. You've always been kind of a professional guy. How difficult were those last few fights for you to make the weight when you were with Top Rank? And I remember the one fight in Texas. I forget who it was against, where you really were struggling and looked like you may not be able to fight at all.
No, the one fight that you are remembering is against Juan Manuel Lopez.
Yeah.
In Dallas, we had a tough time trying to make weight. I had got sick a week prior to the fight. I took a few days off to get better and get over my cold. When I did resume training the week of the fight, I tried to cut weight and I got sick again. I passed out. I was in very bad shape. We actually had to call a doctor to come and attend me in my hotel room. I was vomiting. It was horrible. It was the worst experience ever. After that,
And
I
yet
moved
you
up to.
fought, and you
I
fought.
still fought. I still fought. I fought the next night and I won. I won by knockout in the fourth round. But the weight cut process was just horrible, and so we decided to move up in weight after that. That fight was supposed to be at 126.
Yeah.
We ended up coming in like at 128 for the fight. There was nothing else for me to lose. I tried everything, and there was nothing else for me to lose. My body just wouldn't allow me to lose any more weight. So after that, we moved up to 130. But again, it wasn't the easiest thing either. I mean, it's only a few 2 pounds over. If I barely made 128, 130 was not that big of a difference. So I still had a bit of a tough time. I didn't pass out. I wasn't sick, but I made 130 on 2 occasions. But I knew my jump up to 135 was coming soon. Then we had to take the 2-year layoff. But once my return was back, 2 years ago, my return, I felt that 135 would probably be a good fit. But I still came back at 138 just to see how I felt. Decided to come to 135. I won the title at 35. Now I've been competing at 40, but I still feel that 135 is a better fit. Naturally,
Right.
I felt really good at 35. I felt fast. I felt strong. It wasn't hard to make the weight at 35. I felt very good, very, very good during the weight cut process. So that's why I still feel that 135 right now would be a better fit naturally. But I'm willing to take on bigger challenges, and that's why I'm fighting at 140.
I like that. Uh, Let me ask you this. When you did take that time off, everybody always has the idea, well, if a boxer isn't fighting, he's losing. And certainly it had to cost you 7 figures, I would think, by not fighting, right? I mean, is that fair to say?
The attorney fees were right there, and with the money not coming in from fights, there's a big expense there to pay. But we're making that up right now. And that's why we want the bigger fights so that we can get where we should have been already.
But you're the kind of guy that you believed in yourself. So you I know you don't regret having done what you did. How about from a boxing standpoint? Do you think it hurt you? I mean, helped you from the sense that you were able to rest your body. And I know you could work out and everything, but you weren't getting beaten up in fights and getting beaten up in sparring all the time. Do you think it actually made you better when you came back?
Well, for me, it did. Not having to worry about training camp, even though I was always in the gym, but it's different, when you're in training camp and the sparring, the training, the diet, all that, does take a toll on your body. It starts to wear you down. So the 2-year layoff kind of allowed my body to rejuvenate itself and heal itself better. And now that I'm back, I'm hungry. I'm more motivated. Fights excite me again. At the time, I probably was getting too bored of it. Bored of the routine. Had I been fighting those 2 years that I was off, honestly, I'd probably be thinking about retiring right about right now. Because
Interesting.
it was starting to get just redundant and boring, and I didn't enjoy it. Now I enjoy it. I love it. I enjoy the training. I enjoy the camp, and I want the bigger fights, and that's what excites me the most.
I'm old enough to remember when your brother Robert was fighting and coming up and winning a world title and all that. And he struck me as a guy that loved to box. And you never struck me as that guy, right? You got into it, but you could do other things in it. So did you miss boxing in that time you were away, Mikey?
I started to miss boxing, even though I was, enjoying myself and living and not have to worry about training camp and diet and all that. But later I started to miss because I would see fights on TV. I'd see so many fights that I felt I could be there. I could be, winning that fight. I know I could do this. I could do that. So that's when the fire started to reignite inside of me, and it motivated me more now that I'm back. It really sparked that fire again, and that's why I'm very happy to be where I'm at right now.
You showed up, and I'm sure you remember a lot of people interviewed you, including myself, at Mayweather Gym one day when I think Floyd was going to fight Maidana, one of the fights.
Yes.
You were there, and you saw that crowd. Did that big media crowd and all that circus, kind of remind you of of what you were missing in boxing and all the hoopla and the attention that was going to Floyd? Fighters, you guys have egos, right? I know you guys have egos and like everybody paying attention to you. Did that in any way kind of, get you on the road to getting back?
It wasn't quite the moment that I showed up to Floyd's gym, because I know Floyd is on a level where no matter what he does or where he's at, the attention, the focus is just on him.
Right.
And that's not what I'm shooting for either. What did it for me is just the fact that I would watch fights on TV, and I see different opponents. I see things that, man, I wish I could be there. I would show these guys, the kind of fighter that I am or what I can do against him. And that's what I really missed, that the opportunity to be in the ring against top quality opponents that I knew I would be able to beat and give the fans, great fights, and I wasn't able to. I wasn't allowed to. I was, being held back. That's what did it for me.
When you finally got in the ring in your fight against Zlaticanin, uh, I knew you were a great fighter before that fight. What I didn't know is you had that kind of one punch power in your hand. I was kind of shocked. I had never seen you throw a punch, and I mean, Zlaticanin was a legit champion and a legit fighter. Be honest. Did you surprise yourself when you caught him with that shot? The way the way he reacted to it. I mean, because he was gone.
Yeah, we practiced that sequence there in the gym a lot. Um, so when it actually happened, I'm remembering everything for me was like in a slow motion pattern, from the uppercut to the sidestep to that overhand right. Everything was like in slow motion, which allowed me to just do everything perfect. Um, I don't think I had ever landed a harder punch in my career.
Mm.
He didn't see it coming, and he was already a little hurt, which allowed me to just really land and unload, and it gave the greater effect because he was already stunned from the uppercut.
Right.
Other times that I've hurt other opponents or that I knocked out other opponents, it was one punch at the moment without the setup, or it was a punch that they it wasn't prepared the same way, so it didn't have the same effect. That time it was just too perfect. It surprised me to see him not be able to get up and recover right away. That was a surprise, and I got scared. Quite
I was
frankly,
too.
we got worried. My brother was worried. My brother went over to attend and try to help cut the gloves off and maybe get that blood flow and oxygen back, because we don't want anything bad to happen to anybody.
Right. Of course.
And once we saw him get up, we were relieved that he was okay. So that surprised us the most. I didn't expect that outcome, and we were very happy to see him get up and come back to conscious.
You've had one fight since then, and that was against Adrien Broner. Of course, a very high-profile fight that you won fairly handily. Do you think you had an advantage against Broner from the standpoint he saw that punching power, and I'm sure he never thought of you as a one-punch guy before, but he saw that. Did that affect the way he fought you? Do you think?
I don't think it was that fight that affected the way he fought. I think first round, a couple of jabs that he felt, he knew, the power was there. So he decided to box most of the fight, try to counter. But I had better timing. I had better skills. I had better footwork. I cut the ring. Um, for a few seconds, I even put my hands down and welcomed him to throw punches, and I made him miss, several punches.
Right.
So I just beat him mentally by doing that, and I beat him, with timing and my speed. He wasn't expecting the timing and the speed to be there the way it was. And like I said, the power, a few jabs and a few right hands, I'm sure he had to respect that. And that's what pushed him to be on the defensive most of the night.
So this will be a 140-pound title if you win this. So it'll be what, 4 titles for you now? Is that right?
Yes, 4 divisions, 4 titles.
4 divisions, 4 world titles. Can you do 5? Is 5 feasible?
I will do 5.
You will. So that doesn't happen too often.
It's going to happen. I'm going to be one of the ones to do it. Not many fighters are capable of doing it and moving up in weight so much. But I'm not looking at it because I'm growing in size. I just see my skills, my abilities, greater than some of the opponents at higher weight classes. So I know I'm coming to welterweight soon. I know I'm gonna try to get that 5th, world title in the 5th division soon. And some people might not take me serious, might think that I'm too small. I may be small in size, but I don't lack skills. I don't lack anything in boxing skills, and I think that's what's gonna help me accomplish those goals and those titles.
Well, let's wrap it up here. If you do go to 47, I don't want to get ahead. I know Saturday night is a big fight for you, but if you
Sure.
do end up going to 47, that's maybe the most loaded division of all of boxing, with Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford and Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia et al. Who do you think right now deserves to be considered the best welterweight in the world, and how do you think you would match up with that fighter?
I think right now, as far as skills, I would put Errol Spence number one. Um, Crawford is a very close um, contender for that spot. we just need to see him at the division first. I want to see him, dominate his opponents there. Thurman is the most accomplished, but I think he's not as polished. He's not as polished, and that's why I put Thurman after Spence and Crawford. Then I mean you have some tough fighters like Sean Porter, Danny Garcia,
Yes.
very experienced, and Danny's actually a little more technical, I think, than Keith, but he had the loss, and I mean it's tough to rank them, but they're very very close. But the ones that are I think on top will be Spence and Crawford. Now, how do I match up against them? I think against Spence would be a very good fight because he's strong. He's a stand-up fighter. He's not gonna
With
be
that left hand.
He's not gonna be running. He's gonna make it a good fight.
Right.
Crawford, I think, will be running more, using his height and reach advantages. He wants to make it as easy as possible for him, and that's the way he has to fight. But that makes it a dull fight sometimes, and the fans don't love that. And I don't want a fight that he's gonna be running around all night, and I'm gonna have to be chasing him. I'm gonna try to cut the ring, of course, if I fight Terrence one day, and I'm gonna cut the ring. I'm gonna try to make it a physical fight because that's the only chance I'm gonna have. He's gonna be running around like he did in the amateurs when he fought me, using the height and reach advantage, which scores points, but it's not really what you want. But Spence fights. I like Spence. He fights, and that's what attracts me the most because I know he's got the size advantage and height advantage, but that doesn't intimidate me. I know he's gonna be in there for a fight.
Well, I look forward to seeing some of those fights. I look forward to seeing you fight Sergey Lipinets on Saturday on Showtime for 140-pound belt. Mikey, great stuff. I really appreciate you. I wish you the best.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Kevin.
Good talking to you, Mikey. See you, bud.
Thank you.